Hey everyone, Tina Hogan Grant here with my Cuppa A Natter. I do this twice a month on a Monday. I like to invite authors into my home. We talk about books, writing, life as an author, and whatever comes to mind. And tonight, this evening, my guest is author Eide Nevets. How are you this evening, my dear?
I'm well, thank you. Eide S. Nevets.
Eide, that's it, Eide S. Nevets. There we go. Thank you for the correction. I appreciate it.
That's okay. It's a
Uh,
weird one.
I did. It is because you mentioned that it's your name backwards, your actual real name backwards,
Yes.
which is
So my name is Eide Stevens, and my pen name is Eide backwards, Eide S. Nevets, which is Stevens backwards.
that's interesting. I love that. So, Edie, I know that you're in New Mexico, correct? I
Yes.
said Edie again. I'd. I
That's
should get
okay. Edie is fine.
Edie is fine.
Edie is
You're in
fine.
New
It's easy.
Mexico. Before we start talking about your books, can you just give us a little background to yourself, whatever you'd like to share with the rest of us?
Sure. I am happily married all the way to grandchildren, whom I love dearly. I live in Roswell, New Mexico, alien UFO capital of the world. We have UFO museums and everything. I have been an author since 2020, and I have written 8 books, and I'm working on the ninth.
You're on a roll.
I hope so.
Congratulations. I was talking
Thank
to you
you.
before we went live. Your genre that you write, it's classified as Western science fiction time travel. Is that correct?
It is definitely science fiction because where time travel falls into science fiction. I think perhaps living in New Mexico has inspired my curiosity about the Old West history, the American Old West, and the horses and the towns and how they built them and why they built them and where they built them has all been fascinating to me. And the research is just it's 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 a happy place. How about that?
I bet you've learned a lot through your research.
I have. It basically the American Old West is considered 1865 to 1895, which
Okay.
is only 30 years. Oddly, we seem to think it's bigger than that. And it's not that things didn't take place prior to that, but that's what's considered the Old West in the genre of writing and movies and television.
It's amazing that such a small time period holds such a big place in history.
It
When you,
is.
when you say only 30 years, you think about something in history of like 100 years, 100 plus years. 30
Right.
years, you're right, is not that long. It really
It
is.
isn't, but that's the, I want to say, romanticized part of the Old West where we talk more about it, where we think about it, what we know about it, what we see on television generally comes from that time period.
That's interesting. It really is. And what, okay, I know that you understand that you wanted to study, research, learn more about the Old West. What inspired you to include time travel and science fiction into that genre? That's what fascinates me.
I think that for me, time travel has always been something I was interested in doing. If I could time travel, would I? And if I could time travel, would I time travel back in time or forward?
Interesting question.
And would I want to change something? And if I changed it, what changes would it make? I like to think that I can make changes now in my own life that will make my future better and brighter. I wonder what it would be like if I could go back and change a few things from my past. So for me, the jumping from time to time was a natural thing to fall into. It was more, how do I convince the readers that it's possible? And then you have to tell them where you are and when, so they know that you actually time traveled.
And how did they travel is another question too. How do they get from whether it be the past or the future from the present? You have to, and I'm,
Well, I can read you a little bit from the book later if you like
oh
and
yeah,
tell you a
we're
little
gonna
bit
listen to you
more
read.
about how that happens.
Yeah,
I kind of keep part of that a mystery because that's kind of the thrill of how it happens.
right.
in the book, and the poor soul who comes across it accidentally.
Oh my good. Interesting. Now you do have a book right there behind you. Could you hold that one
I do.
up and tell us the title of that one?
Okay, this one is One Old West Poker Hand. It's the first in an Old West series that I've been working on. And this one is Two Old West Gunslingers. It's the second in the Old West series. The third one is the one I'm working on right now. And that one is called Three Old West Horsetails.
Nice. Okay, so I had it written down here somewhere. Okay, so the one that has 3 books, that one is called the Not in Time Travel
The
series.
Not in Time Travel. Yes.
Okay.
That is this one.
Okay, and that is part of the series, the Travel Time series?
This is a trilogy. This is
Okay.
the time travel trilogy in the Old West. And
Okay.
this is book 1. And it's the one that's received all the awards.
Congratulations.
I love to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no doubt. Now, without giving too much away, we'll start with book 1, of course. Can you just give us a bit about the book, what it's about, maybe about the characters, where it's set, anything that would be valuable for the readers?
For this one.
Yes.
Okay. It is time travel. I think that for me, because it's in the Old West, it was an interesting place to start. And what happens is the main character, his name is Jedediah Halliday. He accidentally discovers how to time travel. And the first book is about him. And the second, well, that first book's about him and his horse and his life. And the second one kind of reveals a little bit more about his son and his horses full. And then the third one is like the grandson. And so it just sort of takes us through the time, even though he time travels.
Okay. All right. I get it.
So
Now,
it's like,
so each book is connected. Book 1, book 2, book 3. They are
yes.
connected. Do they have to be read in sequence, or could someone pick up book 2?
I think it would be better read in sequence. It would make more sense. You can read them each whenever you have time. But excuse me, I think it's better to read the first book first.
So you don't
I think
miss
it gives you a little bit more of the grounding and the how and the why.
Right.
And that way I think the second and third book are more enjoyable.
Right. If you hear a bird, our falcon is in the house. My husband's a falconer, and we have Bob downstairs. So hi, Bob. But that's what you can hear in the background. Anyways, I want to pause real quick. We got some people joining us, and I want to just pop them up and say hello again. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I will get to as many as I can. But I'm going to pop up some questions, some comments, and say hello to our readers. We have Janet. She says hello.
Hello, Janet.
We have Elaine. I'll just scroll down a little bit. We have Rebecca. She says hello. Peggy watching us on YouTube. She says hello. Lori Chasco is here. She says hello. And then Kathy Disco, she's also watching us on YouTube. She says hello. I know that's Kathy. I know Flash, so that's okay. Kathy. Barbara is here from Florida. She says hello. Let me keep. Karen Geeling is here. She says hello. And then we have Belinda. She says good evening. Okay, I'm going to pop up on a couple of questions. I'm just going to just pop up. You started writing, before I pop this question, you started writing in 2020. You've written 8 books. You're working on book number 9. So in 5 years, you've written 8 books. That's fantastic, by the way. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
Lori wants to know, with your books, does your family support your writing?
Oh, great question. That's a really great question. I want to tell you that for this book in particular, my granddaughter designed the cover.
Oh, wow.
I think that is the best support ever. My granddaughter's name is Makeda. She was at the time a graphic design student in Virginia. And so for me, that is one of the most beautiful kinds of support you can get. My husband has always been the one to listen. I write however many pages, and then the next day I read them to him. And he and I discuss whether or not it makes sense, or because he's listening from outside my head.
Right.
And I change and adjust things as needed. My daughter and my sister-in-law couldn't wait to be the first ones to buy my book when they actually went on sale.
That is
So
so.
yes, I think I have some wonderful family support. I do have some other family that doesn't seem to quite grasp the nature of what I'm doing. That's okay. They are who they are. But I have a brother who, when we were kids, was not really a classical school student. He didn't learn the same way everybody else did. We could go and learn by books, but he didn't really get it that way. He was more of a hands-on kind of guy. And I found him reading some of Louis L'Amour books way back
Oh,
when.
okay. Okay.
And he found those books were something he could get into because they were a little bit more hands-on in their storyline. And it was something he was interested in. And I thought, if I can write some more books like Louis L'Amour did to help people who are a little bit more hands-on, then they'll help them get into books and reading and learning through books.
I like that perspective.
And I hope that that helps other people to just be curious about things and learn through books and find things in books.
Yeah. Well,
Like he did.
I love fiction, but I love historical fiction because I always walk away. I tell myself smarter because I
Yes.
always learn something from historical fiction. How can you not?
How can you
Um,
not?
the cover of the book you just held up, the blue one right there, that one. Does the building on the cover represent anything in the story? What is that building?
It's just a little cottage that she put in that would have been approximately the correct architectural type for the time period.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Fit around.
And the horse on the back.
Of course, because
Yeah,
the horses were the Old West. Without them, they never would have been
that's
able
it.
to get anything done.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's wonderful. Now, when it comes to your writing, um, I call myself a pantster because I don't plot my books. I just sit down and I write and I listen to my characters. When you're getting ready to write a book, do you plot everything out? Do you have everything like a map? Or are you maybe a pantster all the way and just sit down and see what evolves? Or you're a bit of both?
I will say that I have some idea of where the book is going to begin and where it's going to end, and maybe a couple of ideas in the middle of how I want to progress from beginning to end. I don't write an outline. I don't have like a draft of things that have to be said or done. I write notes everywhere when I think of
Okay.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have found that sometimes I just now have thought about it enough that I need to sit at the computer and start typing. And very often my characters will come and stand right at my shoulder and tell me exactly what they are going to do next, and I better type that. They
Yeah,
will
don't
keep me
fight them.
awake until they're happy.
Yeah, don't fight them. Do you normally know the ending of the book before you get to that point?
um, I will say it almost always twists a little bit
Okay.
because the characters have input
Okay.
and how they adjusted their lives in my story. But yes, I have an idea of how it's going to end, especially if it's like this one, it's a trilogy and it's going to fall into another book. Then I
Okay.
definitely have how I want to end it with some intrigue to go into the next story.
Now you said that the characters follow through the trilogy, books 1, 2, and 3. All these characters continue on through the books, all three of them, pretty much.
You don't meet the second character until the second book.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the first character comes along,
Continue through. Do you
and
have
then the
a
two of
favorite
them into the
character?
third book.
Okay. Do you have a favorite character from the trilogy that you enjoyed meeting, writing, learning about throughout the whole series?
I will tell you that my favorite character is always the one I'm writing next.
Oh, good answer. That's like me when people ask me what's your favorite book. I'm like, it's the one I'm working on.
It's the one I'm
Oh,
working on. It really is every single time.
yeah.
I absolutely enjoyed writing the time travel book because I had wanted to for so long. And I don't know if this is another question that you might have thought of, but in 2020, we had COVID going on.
Mm-hmm.
I had been working as a salesperson in the hotel industry for years, like 20 years. And you meet all kinds of people from all kinds of places, and that was always of interest to me. And then I had this idea about time travel and how they could do that. And I thought, oh, that would be so much fun to write. And I wrote just like 2 or 3 words and stuck it on my home computer to remember it.
All
And
right.
I never had time, and I never had time. And then, excuse me, in 2020, the hotel industry just sort of,
Collapsed.
with COVID, they couldn't keep that many people in the hotel. They didn't, it got very messy. And I was all of a sudden out of work. I read every book in my to be read pile, and I loved every one of them. And then I wanted to get more, but going to the library wasn't, unless you knew what book you wanted, you couldn't go just browse. And that got very frustrating to me, and I was complaining about it. And a friend of mine said, why don't you just write the book? You've been telling us ideas all this time. Now you have the time. Write a book.
And there you go.
And I am so very grateful to this friend. His name is Phil, and I love him dearly. And he and
Aw.
Curtis are great friends, and they're very supportive. They are like family, but they are good friends. And so I have been writing pretty much since he said, why don't you write one?
Are you still working, or now is writing your full-time job?
I'm writing and retired.
Oh, congratulations. Well
Thank
deserved.
you.
Yes, and now you can write as long as you want, as much as you want.
As much as I want, and I enjoy it so much. It
Exciting.
is the most wonderful feeling to be sitting at the keyboard with the character standing there going, oh, and let me do this, and make me do that, and oh, you know what I want to do? And I'm writing as fast as I can. I'm typing and typing and
They're
typing.
just talking to you. They're just talking in your head. I love it when a character just does something totally unexpected. I just
Yes,
absolutely love it because for me, I don't try and fight the characters. I've tried before in the past, and it just sounds so unnatural. And when I try and make a character do something that they would never do, so now even though if a character does something I don't like, there's a reason why, and
yes,
it's explained to me later in the book. So I just
yes.
go along with whatever they decide to do. Okay, I would never do this, but I'm not you, so yeah, just go ahead and do it. And I just
Sip
go
of
along.
tea.
Oh, go for it. Go for it. Cheers. Cheers, mate. Um, when it comes to your research, how
Mm.
much time do you spend? Number one, I got a couple of questions when it comes to research, but the first question is obviously, I'm assuming you do your research before you start writing the book, or do you continue doing the research while you're writing? You come to a part of the book where the research has to be done. But overall, when you think about a book, how much time do you spend researching a book?
I actually spend a lot of time researching. I want to make sure when I'm, especially time travel,
Mm-hmm.
when you're jumping from time point to time point, things will change.
Oh yeah.
The best example I can give you is if we were in 1992, there was no such thing as cell phones. There was no such thing. If I jump back to 1992 and I'm talking to somebody on my cell phone,
It's not gonna happen.
no, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I want to be as thorough as I possibly can. I don't want to make every single bit of what I'm writing about the history and what it looks like in that time period. because the story is my character going through things.
Mhm.
So, but my characters are going to run into things like a particular style of saddle or guns that were available, what kinds, what they shot with, how they got things. It's much more a subsistence living in 1865. They had to have their own farms. They had to have everything there.
Self-sufficient, yeah.
Yes. And it just, otherwise it doesn't work. So I can't have like trucks pulling up and dumping, not dumping, trucks pulling up and unloading supplies at the general store. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work that way. The horse and
No,
carriage,
so
right?
you kind of have to be very specific about those things that are coming into your book, in the surroundings, in the scenery and such.
That's interesting because you're going back and forth in the book. You have to really make sure you don't bring 92 or whatever into 1860s or vice versa. So you
Right.
really have to watch where you're treading when you're writing that book.
When did telephone poles go up?
I didn't think about that one.
Yes.
And also the clothes. I mean, the wardrobe of civilians back in
Those.
1865
Yes.
compared to today, where the pants are hanging around by their knees almost. But anyways, but the wardrobe completely is a totally
Yes,
different.
very different.
Yeah, interesting. I got a question here from Lori. She wants to. You did talk about Louis D'Amour, but she wants to know which author has inspired your writing.
Oh, good question. One of my very favorites is Janet Ivanovich.
Oh,
I love her Stephanie Plum novels. And I like the character Stephanie Plum very much. So when Janet is writing about that character, I'm inspired to think of how characters would be discussed, would be described, would follow in their actions. And to me, that's the kind of inspirational stuff. And there's tons of books that I just dearly love. But if you talk to me about what kind of authors inspired me, I would say that she did.
she's one of them. Okay.
Yes. I mean, how can you, there's like Stephen King. How can you not admire Stephen King? I mean, there's so many. But I would say for me, definitely Janet Ivanovich had inspired. Just
Now,
by the way she writes her characters.
okay, and you write, the time travel science fiction, Western, old Western. Is it a genre that you also read, or do you have genres that you like to read versus writing?
I like mysteries when I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I don't put some mystery into my books, I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't specifically stay in that genre. I have the science fiction Old West time travel. I have a series that's simply Old West, not time travel. I've done a spiritual book. I did an interplanetary coming of age book. So I'm not stuck in any one particular genre. It's as the story strikes me, that's how I write it. And I let the characters figure out whether it's really jumping from planet to planet or time to time or just struggling through to exist. I think you have to kind of let the story tell itself.
Yeah, you do. And like you said, the characters will let you know. They will definitely let you know. And then that brings me to Lori's other question about genre. She wants to know, is there a genre you would like to write but haven't yet?
I think maybe the mysteries.
Murder mystery, yeah.
I might. That it's dark though.
It is. Well, don't you
Have you read any Mary Higgins Clark? That is a very dark genre, and I think I might step into that one at some point. But right now, I'm happy where I'm at. That's the one genre I think I might.
That'll be
might still want to write.
Maybe you can throw some time travel in there too and go back.
Yes.
Sherlock Holmes, bring him back into the book.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? The book you're writing on now, is this going to be a standalone or a series or part of a series you have now?
The book that I'm writing now is the third in the Old West series.
Okay.
That is simply an Old West series. It's not time travel. It's just a series. I found so much research when I was working on the Old West time travel books that I found enough that I could write more in a series. So I've just got a series of Old West stories going. And that's the one I'm writing, the 3 Old West Force Tales, the 3rd book in that series. And the interesting, exciting part for me is that is the first set of books that I have delved into the Audible book world. A gentleman named Boyd Barrett has narrated the first 2 books in this series. And he can't wait to do the 3rd one, but I do have to finish writing it first.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Do you have a release date for the one you're working on now, or a deadline that you want to try and meet?
Well, I kind of wanted it to be done last December. Didn't
You
quite
sound
get
like
there.
me. I'm the
Yeah,
same.
it didn't quite work. I'm sure we'll get to it. It's coming along. My editor's already done the first 6 chapters, so I'm happy. It's just sometimes life happens and you have to make adjustments.
It does. It really does. And, you know, we all have emergencies come up, and we have the holidays of Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it's hard sometimes. Do you write every day, or try to write every day? Do you set yourself a
I do
schedule?
something every day.
Okay.
In terms of the writing, because as you know, writing isn't just sitting down and typing. It's many other things. You have to tell people the book exists or they don't know. So there's an advertising aspect that I work on. There's social media pieces that you need to work on. I've done some very crazy pieces. I loved my October calendar because it was just hysterical. I had gone to Hollywood, California for International Input Book Awards 2025 Author of the Year ceremony. And that was one weekend. And then we came back, my husband and I, the following weekend, we went to Las Cruces to a book fair. Las Cruces, New Mexico had their first Southern New Mexico book. It was awesome. I had such a great time there. I met some wonderful people. And then I had a colonoscopy.
Oh, fun.
It was just one of those things where the whole calendar didn't make any sense. And it's not like you can get a lot of writing done when you're working on a colonoscopy or any other kind of a surgery.
I totally get that one. Yeah. And I'm assuming you work from home. You're in your office.
I
or
do.
work.
I do. Yes, this is my home office.
I love it. I love it. Do you prefer to write in the mornings, the afternoon, or evenings, or just when the inspiration hits you? Or do you try and work?
For the most part, I write when the characters are keeping me awake. So when there's nobody needing me to make supper or wash dishes or do laundry or clean house or whatever, and my husband's gone to bed and everything is still and quiet and nobody's calling me on my phone, then I can sit down and write all my thoughts and the character thoughts and the actions and movements and how things are going. And I will write into the wee hours of the morning and not notice that much time has passed because it's so much fun. I just enjoy it so much. And I'm writing away and writing away and writing away. And it's all of a sudden 4 a.m. and I think, I really probably should get some sleep. And I have to get permission from the characters to let me go so I can.
I love that. I do. Now, when it comes to your historical research and the stories of your characters in the books, are the characters based on any of your research, people that you come across during your research, like a certain I call them cowboys. I don't know what else.
Right. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I think in my very first book, I based it on a couple of characters. I thought that the main character in that book was probably Graham Greene, sort of a native, very deep thinking, pleasing kind of character. And I thought that probably he certainly looked and acted like Graham Greene. Okay. And I think that he spoke and did things very much like my husband, who was a elementary school counselor for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And since that character works with a child in that book, it just sort of seems like maybe that one is based on a couple of real life characters.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I think the rest of my books is
Well,
purely inventive,
purely
just
fiction. Okay.
purely inventive.
Okay. Now,
What
when
if we had somebody who could do this and that and the other thing and looked sort of like that? Ah, they pop in.
they just pop in and they lead the way. I love that the
They
characters
pop in
lead
and
the
lead
way.
the way.
And if the characters are not talking to me, I get up and do something else. I don't
Yes.
sit here and wait. I got other things I need to do. So if a character is not talking to me, then it's like, okay, just come a knocking when you're ready. I'm not going to sit here and wait for you. That's what I do. Well, we talked a little bit
Do
earlier.
you have a certain time of day that you prefer to write?
I prefer to write at night. That's my preference. Because the house is quiet. My crazy dog Jack, who's a Brittany and has more energy than I'll ever have in a lifetime, is finally sleeping. And my husband, he goes to bed a little bit earlier than I do. So that's usually when I like to write. But also if I'm around the house and my head is just spinning, I will stop what I'm doing and get it out, because otherwise I
Yes.
just can't think straight.
Yes.
But most of the time I'm able to connect with the characters in the evening. I think they know my schedule by now.
Right.
Leave her alone. She's busy. But occasionally something's going to happen where I'm at in the book, and it's like, if I don't get this out, they're going to stop talking to me. I'm going to forget about her. It's not going to be the way it needs to be. So,
Right.
but yeah, most of the time I like to do it in the evening. I think I accomplish. Another thing too, for me, if I write during the day, there is so much for me. There's so many distractions. I look down there and there's dishes to be done. There's laundry to be done. My dog
Right.
needs to go for a
Right.
walk. I need to do some social media. I need to, all
The
this.
phone rings.
Yeah.
Somebody knocks on the door.
By the time I get ready to
Amazon delivers a
write,
package.
yeah. But if I start writing at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, everything's done that I
Yes.
find as a distraction. And
Yeah.
the rest of the evening is mine. And I'm up till 1, 2. So for me, that's half a day anyways,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's to answer your question, is when I like to write. I'm looking at the time. We're doing great.
Okay.
But we
Okay.
have a treat that you are going to read to us, an excerpt
Yes.
from your book. So readers love this. So I am going to be quiet. I'm going to hand it over to you. And
Okay.
when you're ready, I'll let you take over.
All right. I'm going to grab another sip.
Go for it. Go for it.
And I have pages and I have the back. And I'm not going to just read the back because I think I can do that in less than 2 minutes. So I'm going to read a little bit more if that's okay.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
From this book, the first book in the Old West Time Travel Trilogy, and it's called The Knot in Time Travel.
Nice.
The next morning, Jedediah woke up smelling biscuits. Biscuits, he said through a foggy head. Get washed up and come to the table, his mother snapped. There are plenty of chores to do. Yes, ma'am, said Jedediah, shuffling out to the water pump. He'd forgotten about his new boots. He washed his face and hands, filled a bucket with water, and brought it into the house. He put the bucket on the table. His new boots were still by his bed. He quickly put them on and sighed. New boots and biscuits. Great way to start a day. Every bite of biscuit was delicious. His mother made really good biscuits. I want no fuss, his mother told him. You will feed the chickens and feed and water the dapple gray. Make sure that horse has more than one bucket of water, Jedediah, and you need to fix 2 poles at the corral. They're loose and the goats keep getting out. Get out there and get started. Yes, ma'am, said Jedediah. He was confused about being happy with a mouthful of biscuit and being sad and unable to avoid chores. He took another biscuit and put it in his pocket. He stepped out the front door and stood on the grass, and he wiggled his toes in his new boots. It was nice to have a little room in them. Jedediah's mother watched him to make sure he was not running away again. Then she stood in front of the fireplace and just looked at the 2 white fancy plates he had bought for her. What was she going to do with that boy? In his new boots, Jedediah walked proudly to the lean-to and pulled hay for the horse. He jogged to the pump and filled 2 pails with water. These he carried to the lean-to and dumped the water into the wash tub for the horse. The dapple gray looked at him and continued eating hay. Then he went and collected 2 large scoops of corn for the chickens, figuring that would take care of them for tomorrow, too. Knowing his mother would be watching him, he went to the corral to see about the 2 loose posts. Near as he could tell, they were all solid. They didn't wiggle much when he shook them. He got a shovel and packed some dirt around a couple posts. He left the shovel leaning against them. He thought this would be a good time to escape, but his mother came out to milk the goat. As long as you have that shovel, turn the soil in the garden by the carrots. Something got into them yesterday, she said. He picked up the shovel and went to the garden. He remembered picking one of the carrots yesterday and wondered how his mother would notice just one missing carrot. He began turning the soil near the row of carrots. His plan was to lightly shovel until she went inside from milking, and he'd be off to his favorite spot to nap. Deeper than that, Jedediah, she called to him. How did she know he wasn't digging deep? It seemed to take forever, but finally his mother went into the cabin with the goat milk. He stuck the shovel in the soil, took off his new boots, and hugging them to his chest, ran quickly and quietly down the buckboard path. He was out of sight in the blink of an eye. Jedediah looked up and down the path, then scrambled up the corner knoll and down the back side under the tree. His boots back on his feet, he wiggled his toes again. These were the best boots. Laying down with his head at the base of the trunk of his tree, he crossed his ankles, put his hands under his head, and looked up at the sky. He sighed and slept. It was, after all, his talent. It was dusk when Jedediah awoke. He remained still and just listened to the birds and the bugs. He stretched his arms and legs, and when he tilted his head back, he was looking at the trunk of his tree, but it appeared upside down. He began thinking about the world as it might be if it were upside down. Walking would be interesting. 1 or 2 stars were beginning to glow in the sky. Could you walk on stars? Then he noticed a small, round, dark circle on the trunk of his tree. It was maybe 3 or 4 feet from the ground. Turning, he kneeled and faced the tree. It looked like maybe a small branch had been there at one time and either was cut or broken off. It was slightly darker than the rest of the bark on the tree. He reached a finger up and touched the spot. It gave under his finger and seemed to go into the tree trunk. That was strange. Looking up, Jedediah could no longer see any stars, or sky for that matter. It seemed to be very dark all of a sudden. He stood up and bumped his head on something. It was soft. Some type of cloth? What would that be doing out here in the tree? One hand was still on the dark spot, and he reached out with the other and found a door latch. A door latch? He pressed the thumb notch and a door opened. Daylight shone on him. He seemed to be in a tiny room, barely big enough for him to stand in. There was a horizontal pole with a bunch of fancy short red jackets hanging on it. What are you doing in there? A man asked him. It's a closet. You pick out a coat, you put it on, you don't stay in the closet. Get out here. Jedediah took a step and looked around. He was in a very large room now. There were stairs, very fancy stairs, a long counter, lots of windows in the closet. What is the matter? The man said. Put on one of the coats and get over here. Jedediah picked out one of the red jackets and put it on over his shirt. It had shiny gold buttons, and he had a little trouble putting them through the buttonholes. He walked over to the man. About time, the man said, and walked around the corner. Now, take these up to room 4 for the lady. He pointed at a trunk, had 2 large cases. A lady was standing there with the trunk. She was carrying a small case. Excuse me. Oh, dear.
You got it?
Perhaps I should stop there.
There you go. A tickle.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's good. You got a tickle. I hate those. But that sounds really good. Uh-oh. What happened to my screen?
I don't know.
Hold on a second. Hold
Oh dear.
on, I'll get you back. It's okay. This is what happens when we're live. Hold on. We'll get it. Hold on, people. We got Tickle and we got
Oh my.
okay, I got you in the corner there, but what happened to you coming up top here?
I don't know.
Are you okay?
Yes, but I should stop reading.
Yeah. Okay, now I just pushed myself out. Jesus Christ. Okay, we'll get there. But no,
I'm so sorry.
no. It happens to me sometimes and you just can't stop. But it's okay. You just take care of that while I figure out what happened to my screen here. I see you, but I don't see me. Hi, I'm still here. I just don't see myself. Technology just, hold on, what happened?
Oh my goodness.
You okay?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're not on by yourself. I'm still here. For whatever reason, it just kind of took me off and put you on. There we go.
Oh, there.
Good Lord, I'm sorry about that. All right, we're back, people. My Lord, technology. No, that sounded really good.
Oh my goodness.
You okay?
I am.
I'm not gonna ask you any questions while you're coughing. I want to make sure you're okay. You okay?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, I
I
totally understand.
apologize. They're in the middle of my own book.
But it sounded so good. You read it really well too.
You?
And like my question is, when your tickle's gone, is the names in your book? I love the names of your book. Of course, back then in 1865, the names are completely different to what we have
Yes.
today. Now I'm coughing.
Oh dear.
But how did you come up with your names? How did you research or find names for back in 1865?
Actually, there's a lot of research on that. I chose names deliberately that were popular in the American Old West during that time.
Okay.
And I found that they were a lot more, I want to say old-fashioned.
Yeah,
But I
totally.
liked them, and I think
I
they
do
went
too.
well with the style of character I wanted to do. And I chose several names before I got to the one I wanted.
Okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense. And then Patty has a question. We talked about, I'm going to scroll down and get some of these questions because we have quite a few questions. I'm going to start with
Okay.
Patty and then just go down the list if I can get to as many as I can. But we talked about that where you're at right now is where you like to write in your office right there. But she also
Mhm.
wants to know, do you write in silence? I'm going to add to it. Do you like music in the background or do you have to have complete silence?
Because of the time that I'm writing, which is usually at night and my husband's asleep, it's quiet. And for me, that feels best because I can hear the character voices better.
Yeah.
So I don't have any music going on and I don't do that. When I have the opportunity to write in the afternoon, we have a patio outside and I love to sit there and just type away on my laptop all my ideas or work on my research. And you can hear the birds quite clearly.
They make
And
good
that's so
companions.
peaceful to me because I feel like even in 1865, I could have been hearing those birds
Oh,
or
yeah.
some type of birds in that area.
I
So
love
for me, I like that part because it kind of connects me.
connects you to your writing. Do you set yourself goals when you sit down to write? Like, do you say to yourself, "Well, I want to write 1,000 words this session," or today I'm gonna, every day I must write? Because some authors will say, I like to try and reach 1,000," but some people are very strict. Authors are strict of how much they write every day. That they got to set a goal every day. Do you just take it in stride and just write as the characters are talking to you, or do you try and set a goal?
That's an interesting way to, I don't think I set a goal per se.
Mm-hmm.
I do work on my writing every day. It might be that I'm typing something. It might be that I'm researching. It might be that I'm doing some kind of advertising or marketing. So I work on it every single day because it's who I am and I
Right.
can't not. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of
Do
sense.
I set a goal of 1,000 words or something every day? No,
Mm-mm.
because I'm not actually writing every single day. When you're researching, you're not necessarily writing.
You'll
When you're
write
doing the
what you put.
advertising.
Yeah,
So no, I don't, because I don't want my characters to suffer the wrong word.
makes sense.
I don't want to give them the wrong word because I was determined to write 1,000 words. Mm-mm. I'm going to let them tell me what they want to do, and then I will find the right words to go with it. So I don't set a specific word amount or chapter or anything like that, but I do expect and enjoy working on some aspect of my writing every day.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be the writing. Like you said, it could be the
Yes.
research. When it comes to actually sitting down and writing, I'm going to start, say, with the first manuscript. Do you go back each time you sit down and reread what you've written, or do you just keep pushing forward?
Am I sending it to my editor?
No, I mean, like you sat down, you're writing your book, then you come back the next day. Do you go back and reread what you wrote the day before,
I generally
or
just
edit?
sit down and start from where I left off and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm planning to send it to my editor, I will go back to the very beginning
Oh,
and
yeah,
read through
me
the
too.
whole thing and then send it, because I want to make sure I didn't make some stupid mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I write the first draft and it's a total mess. I mean, it's a mess. But then I'll spend the next month or two just going through it, cleaning it up. But I don't go back and read while I'm writing. I just can't
Right,
do that
right.
because I'll start changing things. I'll start doubting what I've written. But
Mhm.
it's not my story, it's the character's story.
Yes.
I go back and reread it. I'm like, well, wait a minute, and I won't do that.
Yeah.
I won't. I want to get the bones down, get it done. Once it's all done, then I'll go back and start critiquing it, cleaning it up, getting rid of
Yes.
all the mistakes, the errors, the grammar errors, and clean it up as best as I can before it goes to the editor.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I do. Moving on, we talked about your characters' names from 1865, how you research them. But Connie also wants to know if if the characters are named after anyone in your family.
Actually, in my very first yes. Let me tell you that my very first book has a super long title: The Interplanetary Adventures of Kevin Higgins and the Mystical Chahway.
My goodness, that is
Yes.
a long title.
And I mostly refer to it as Chahway. It's like a pre-title, and the book is Chahway. Chahway is spelled Chahway.
Oh.
And I got that name by choosing 7 letters out of a Scrabble box.
Oh, I love Scrabble. Oh, I love
I
that.
love Scrabble. The first time I had all consonants and no vowels. And so I said, okay, and I just picked up a handful, and it turned out to be 3, and put them back and reshuffled them and took 3 other ones out. And the letters spelled Chahway.
What a great way to figure out a name. I've never
It
heard
was
that
for the mystical
before.
character. He had to be a mystical character
Right.
and had to have a different kind of name. In that book, there are probably 10 characters with names very, very similar to family names. I took them and twisted them and used their characteristics and threw them right through that book.
I love it. I love that. Excellent. Okay.
So, yeah.
Laurie, we're still talking about the characters, and we talk about how we write their stories. We listen to our characters. Laurie wants to know, do you always agree with your characters?
I'm going to say it's the other way around, where they don't always agree with me.
Good answer.
No, they don't always agree. and that's okay. I kind of play out what I think the character is saying and see if it will fit with the process of the story. Will it work to get them from where they are to the end of the book? And if it doesn't work, then I have to convince the character that I'm right.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's a battle.
It
It is.
is.
They can be stubborn at times, depending on the kind of character. But sometimes they can be really stubborn. Okay, you're writing your 9th book. Congratulations on that, and congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
awards that you won. Karen would like to know, when you finish a book, how do you celebrate?
I sleep.
Ah! There you go.
I actually love it when I finish the book, but I mean, I celebrate at kind of like different levels. When I finished writing the book and I've gone through it and I send it to my editor, there's one sort of celebration wave there where, I finished it. It's great. And I wait for the editor to go through the process to come back. When it's come back, there's another sort of celebration after I've met all the editing requirements. And then it feels like it's really finished and I've written it. And then there's the process of the book design, the cover, how you're going to get through that. And then that's another step. I think my favorite, I finished my book, is when I actually get my own copy.
Yeah.
When I get an author copy and I hold that book in my hand and I go, oh my goodness, these are the words that I wrote, that my characters talked about, and the cover fits them. And then I am super happy and I can't wait to sell it to people. And it's like, again, it's that another wave of success when you see someone buy the book and then give you a review.
Yeah.
And oh, it's just, I think there are so many stages of celebration.
There really is. And it doesn't matter how many books you write.
It doesn't.
That feeling when you hold the book in your hand for the first time just never gets old. It doesn't matter if it's your first book or your 10th book or whatever. The first time you hold that book that you just wrote, it's it's amazing. It's incredible feeling. It is.
It's super exciting. I just enjoy it so much. I really do.
Yeah. Janet would like to know, we talk about the process of your writing and the steps that you take. You've done your research, you're writing your book. How long does it normally take you to write the first draft? I'm not going to say, where you do all the errors and everything like that.
Okay.
Just the first draft. How long does it normally take you to write that first draft? A feeling of completion, should I say?
My very first book, I had thought about it for almost 20 years when I was working. So my very first book, I had it all done in 30 days. In less than a month, I had my first draft all written out, everything. I didn't have anybody to edit it or anything yet, but in 30 days, and I just belted that out. It was so pent up and waiting to get out that I couldn't type fast enough.
And how many words was this first draft? Do you remember?
The first draft was like 700 pages.
Good grief, that's a big.
Yes, that was way too big, way too big.
Wow, you had to cut out a lot of that one. Or did you keep all of that? Did you keep the whole
thing? I didn't keep the whole thing. It's not that big anymore. It's still a good sized book. It's 300 something pages, but it's way better. It had some critiquing. It had some interesting twists that I needed to clarify. And it had a different format that once I changed was way better for the reader. And I just feel like that book, first draft, 30 days.
Wow. That
was like real easy. And then by the end of the year, I mean, I think I had the 30 days were like in either July or August. And then, of course, all of the other stuff that goes with it, with the editing and the process of whittling it down to readable, and the book cover, all that, getting it online so people could buy it. And I had it published officially in December of 2020.
That's amazing. What a great story. Okay, I'm going
Thank
to take
you.
one more question from our readers. I'm looking at the time. Belinda, she would like to know, do you have any pets?
You know what? I am terribly allergic to animals.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's awful. I love them so much.
Oh,
We have koi and goldfish in a pond outside, and that's the closest I can say that I have for a
he's not
pet.
allergic to fish. There we go.
No, I'm not allergic to fish and turtles.
There you go.
I don't have a turtle. I don't want one. But and oddly enough, my daughter has one of those hypoallergenic dogs. It's a little white Bichon poodle
Doesn't like
mix
loose
something.
fur or anything like that.
I'm just terribly allergic to dander, animal dander.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
So it turns out that I'm even allergic to elephants.
Wow. Okay.
I know, it's ridiculous. They did these
you
horrible
couldn't go to the
forensic
zoo
tests.
or anything
I
like
wish I
that.
could have pets. Thank you.
That's too bad. This has been, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. I'm looking at the time, but
Okay.
I have to get it under an hour so I can upload it to Instagram, because if it goes over, they won't let me upload it.
No.
So I'm gonna wrap it up pretty quick. But before we sign off, I do want to talk about the giveaway.
Oh,
So
yes.
let the readers know what it is you're giving away.
Sorry, every time I go off camera, right?
That's okay. No worries.
This book, I will give a signed first book in the trilogy. I will send it to you. I will sign it, and it will be wonderful, and I hope you enjoy it. And there you go.
Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. I'm going to go ahead and pick the winner for you, and I will let you know who that is tonight. I'm also doing my giveaway, which is the $5 Amazon gift card. You just need to share this video from my author page on Facebook. And when you do share it as many times as you want. That gives you more entries, but do tag me so I know you shared it, and you'll be entered into the $5 Amazon gift card. This has been a wonderful chat. Thank you so much for joining me. And
Thank you so much.
Oh, yes. I love talking to you. I love hearing about the Old West. And I love the genre that you write. But when your next book is ready to get released, reach out and we'll get you back on and we'll talk about it.
That would be lovely. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you want to have a few words before we sign off, I'll hand it over to you.
I just want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity. And you can find all about me at nevetsbooks.com.
Thank you so much. Real quick, before we sign off, I've got a minute. Are your books on Kindle Unlimited, or are they just on Kindle?
You can get everything from Amazon. You can get ebooks, paperback, hardcover, and even Audible on some of them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Enjoy your night, everybody. And